education.
Back on Inside Tennessee, it's a lively discussion with the Speaker of the House, Cameron Sexton. Let's move to some other issues and focus on guns. Any bill adding restrictions to gun rights in Tennessee is dead on arrival this session. True or false?
Yeah, dead on arrival, but it's not going to pass. So whether it's dead or gets into committee, I don't think there's any votes there to do it.
The grocery tax moratorium is popular with a lot of people. Critics say it doesn't really help the people who it should be helping. I'm curious, it was 3 months in 23. Do you see another in 24, or because of maybe tight revenue, let's not do that this year?
We'll see. I mean, it was interesting. I think we're waiting for the projections to come back in on what that was, but I think families, a couple $100 is what the families save. So could we do it again in 3 months? I'm not sure, but it could be possible.
You had a group looking at federal funding from education. Has anything come out of that, or have you left that as it was?
No, so the Senate put out a report. Put our report out. It's going to come out on Monday about noon, so tomorrow. What we have found out is the federal government sends a lot of rules down and makes the state implement them, so it looks like it's state rules. So we're going to go back and try to uncover, and there's still a lot more questions than we have answers.
Those are the strings you've referenced.
Right.
Do you have some specifics about the strings and why you might leave $1 billion of federal money on the table?
Well, the thing is, it's hard to uncover because, as I said, the federal government sends it to the department and asks them to adopt their rules. And so the strings look like they're state rules when they're really federal rules based on how they do it.
Have you talked to your state people?
We have, and so we're kind of worked through that. But we're going to use government operations to go back in and look at all those rules. We're going to use our education department, our committee, to go back and look at all the federal required testing and see if it's redundant and what it looks like.
So have the state educational people given you one example of a federal mandate that says this is bad, this is not good for the state of Tennessee?
Well,
because I haven't heard one yet.
Well, nobody wants to talk bad about the federal government because what you had is even in Illinois and Kentucky. You guys have done a good
job of it.
Here in Kentucky, so you had Kentucky and Illinois who were trying to strengthen their testing requirements.
Right.
Federal government came in and said, you can't enhance them. You have to do what we do. We're going to pull money. And so when you get to that point, the federal government is so all-encompassing, it's hard to get people to talk about. We had a couple people come before committee who talked about the indirect costs and other things associated with it. So it's going to take us a while to uncover.
But the Senate does say this is a bad idea. They say we should take the money. Fair?
Well, that's the Senate. That's not the House.
Okay. John?
So any change or evolution on women's reproductive rights, because clearly 70% or more of the state population do not approve of what Tennessee has done, and with really one of the most restrictive abortion rights, abortion access laws in the country. Is there going to be any evolution on that this term?
Well, last year we did put into saving the life of the mother. I think there's some fatal anomaly language that could be coming that's compromised. Rape and incest, which I'm okay with the right language, and you have to have certain precautions and things to get in there, so it's not a wide open window. I could be in favor for. So we'll see. I think people will file. It just depends on what happens when it gets in the committee.
There was a lot of funding that you all did for DCS to fix some significant problems in 23. Do you see that that's been done, or do you see the need for anything else?
There's always need for DCS to have help. I think caseworkers and other things that are slow up that we need with adoptions is something else. We also need help with juveniles who are in a hospital when there's no beds for mental health evaluation, so we need to fix that. The TBI, the rape kits, all that has been helped with the money we put in, so we have seen progress in a lot of different areas.
How about cannabis? This state has walked up to Delta 8 and Delta 10 when Delta 9 is really the substance that most people who want to use THC want that. Any shot at this state legalizing marijuana?
Not recreational. You may get medical in a medical form. That might be as far as we go. There's a new study that came out in the last couple of weeks. I don't know if it's the Wall Street Journal that reported it. That talked about in the youth, with all the data that they have, there's depression and schizophrenia that's now into the youth population. You need to dive into that a little bit more to see how true or accurate that is before you even make that leap into recreational.
But I suspect that those studies will show or have shown that, as John just mentioned, Delta 8, Delta 10, some of the other products are causing some of those very same effects. So is there going to be any change in legislation to possibly restrict the sale of those products, because they mimic THC marijuana?
No, and that was it's like when we were dealing with methamphetamines and they were changing the part on the structure.
We can go back to Timothy Leary and LSD.
Yeah. And so we're going to work with TBI and law enforcement and the DAs to do what we can. I think you should. But the question is, do we get enough votes to make that happen?
What's your priority, your number one priority this session?
Well, I'm going to help Governor with school choice, obviously. And then the second thing is I'm still going to focus on juveniles and crime and try to get some form of blended sentencing passed. And I'm going to work on something for bail. We should have something in the next 10 days on bail reform.
The Tennessee House made headlines for a lot of many people would say negative reasons. Made the SNL, Saturday Night Live, maybe a bit too often. 24, try to stay away from SNL and be on the down low?
I guess it depends on the reason you make SNL. If it's to uphold the House rules that we voted on as a body and decorum and that sort of stuff, then they can do whatever they want to do.
How about civility this year?
That's a great word. We love to have it.
So does it go both ways, though?
No,
Mr.
it does.
Speaker?
The rules apply to both sides. Absolutely.
Okay, because I've watched a lot of those hearings, via video link, and it's clear there's bad behavior on both sides. And are you willing to commit to, hey, I'm going to try to work with the Democrats, and I'm going to try to keep this calm, and I'm going to try to give people a chance to speak what they need to speak, but do it within the rules?
That's the goal. Do it within the rules and speak how you need to speak as
But
long
you
as
get
it's
to make
within
the
the
rules right now.
No, I don't make the rules. The body makes the rules. I enforce the rules.
The body is a supermajority, as John loves to point out at the beginning of every one of these shows.
Well, it was supermajority for Democrats 100 years, so it is what it is.
And we didn't have the problem, did we?
Well, you didn't have behavior like it was now.
Not like it is now.
I think you have a whole different problem. But let me just say this, is people need to be civil. People need to have decorum. And what you have seen at the national level and everywhere else is people who do not respect the institution, who do not respect one another. They're more willing to try to make a social media post on both sides to get clicks and bait clicks and whatever else. That needs to stop. We're here to try to do the business of the state, and that's what we're going to focus on.
Mr. Speaker, we appreciate the time on this Sunday morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Best of luck this session. We'll certainly check back in with Speaker Sexton. Back with our talk around right after this.